All right, so this is a big, big deal and not in a good way. Donald Trump, whose entire political brand has revolved around undermining confidence in our elections, painting legitimate vote counts as fraud, now has announced that he will be nominating Harmeet Dhillon to the Justice Department's top civil rights position. This is not just bad, it's dangerously bad for the integrity of our voting system. And this nomination is not getting the attention that it deserves. Harmeet Dhillon, who's that? Who cares? Well, this is one of the most dangerous nominations so far. First, Donald Trump's announcement where he said, quote, "I am pleased to nominate Harmeet K. Dhillon as Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the United States Department of Justice. Throughout her career, Harmeet has stood up consistently to protect our cherished civil liberties, including taking on big tech for censoring our free speech, representing Christians who were prevented from praying together during COVID, and suing corporations who use woke policies to discriminate against their workers. Harmeet is one of the top election lawyers in the capital C country, fighting to ensure that all and only legal votes are counted. She is a graduate of Dartmouth College and the University of Virginia Law School and clerked in the U.S. Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. Harmeet is a respected member of the Sikh religious community. In her new role at the DOJ, Harmeet will be a tireless defender of our constitutional rights and will enforce our civil rights and election laws fairly and firmly. The Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights is not a neutral figurehead role. This is the core office charged with enforcing federal laws that protect your right to vote and my right to vote, your right to participate in democracy without intimidation, without discrimination, without suppression. Now, historically, under more normal administrations, this is a division that has played an important role fighting discriminatory voter ID laws, cracking down on gerrymandering schemes that are designed to dilute minority votes and ensuring that states don't just make up their own rules and push out groups of people from the voting booth. However, we have to look at Harmeet Dhillon's track record. She has cultivated a reputation in right-wing legal circles as someone who will aggressively challenge how votes are counted over and over and over again. And it often echoes or supports the narrative that only legal votes should be counted. Now, that might sound innocuous. It's sort of like when people go, well, why shouldn't you have an ID to vote? Sounds innocuous, doesn't sound like a big deal. But you have to understand the language and you have to decode what it really means in Trumpian terms. When the Trump people say only legal votes, it's a shorthand for excluding votes from communities of color, targeting mail-in ballots disproportionately used by Democratic-leaning voters, challenging any expansion of ballot access, which would make it easier for everyday Americans, whether it's students or the elderly, working class people who can't stand in line for hours, to cast a legitimate ballot. And Dhillon's entire public persona is intertwined with a faction of the Republican Party that has tried to sow chaos in the 2020 election. Because remember that Trump's allies tried to get ballots thrown out on technicalities. They pushed these debunked conspiracy theories about mass voter fraud. They wanted to give state legislatures the power to override election results that they didn't like. Dhillon didn't just sit on the sidelines. She was actively part of this legal ecosystem, trying to champion the idea that we need constant, unprecedented scrutiny of suspicious votes. Of course, votes disproportionately cast by people who traditionally suffer discrimination at the ballot box. If Harmeet Dhillon is put in charge of the Civil Rights Division, it will be an unfettered, unmitigated disaster because instead of fighting voter suppression, the DOJ will start looking the other way when states pass laws that cut early voting or reduce polling places in diverse communities or impose complicated ID requirements aimed at reducing turnout. The DOJ might stop challenging discriminatory redistricting maps. They might even start supporting these right-wing legal challenges that make it harder to vote in the name of election integrity, basically reversing decades of progress. This is an appointment that would be a chilling signal to civil rights groups, to local election officials that are just saying, let's run a fair election. It will be a chilling message to minority communities who have historically depended on the DOJ to step in and say, you can't disenfranchise this entire group. You can't do that. It's an intimidation tactic, and Trump is trying to put someone in who fundamentally doesn't believe in the DOJ playing a robust role in voter protection. This is exactly what I mean when I say it's not really about Trump. It is now, with a lame duck Trump coming in, it is now about setting up an infrastructure, using Trump to establish an authoritarian infrastructure that they want to be durable for future elections. This changes the whole game in favor of voter suppression and in favor of minority rule. And that should alarm every American who believes that elections should be free, fair, and accessible. This really is about the future of democracy. And as disheartening as it can be, as disturbing as it can be, we have to be thinking about the future, because if they get to do the things that they are clearly lining up to do, 2026 won't matter, 2028 won't matter. They are setting themselves up with nominations like this. With the holiday season upon us, you might be enjoying some festive drinks. Check out our sponsor, ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic, a tiny shot-sized drink you toss back before you have any of those drinks to keep you feeling your best the next day. ZBiotics' pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol is converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It is that byproduct, not dehydration, to blame for how you feel the next day. And ZBiotics' pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break the byproduct down. If you drink one of these before drinking alcohol, then you drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep, you'll feel really good the next day. And it is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. If you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Go to zbiotics.com/Pacman and use code Pacman to get 15% off your first order. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. The link is in the description, or scan the QR code.